I bet you're looking for some good news right now, a little hope amid all these trials and debates and everything else. Well, I've got some good news for you. You're going to want to hear it. But it comes out of a lesson we learned painfully several decades ago in the state of Florida. And that lesson builds out of one number, and that number is 537. Because that's the number of votes that Al Gore trailed George Bush by when the Supreme Court of Bush v. Gore stopped the vote count. So essentially, Al Gore lost Florida by 537 votes. Now here's the painful part of that 537 votes, looking back at history. At the same time that Gore lost by 537, there were 7 congressional districts out of 23 in Florida on the ballot that year where Democrats did not even run a candidate. And to make things worse, there were 8 out of the 20 state Senate districts in Florida that were up where Democrats didn't run a candidate. And 30 out of 120 state house seats in Florida that year where Gore lost by only 537 votes where Democrats didn't run a candidate. And if you look at any of the data or the studies about what happens when you have candidates running, knocking on doors, inspiring voters to turn out, volunteers doing the same, you know that turnout goes up when you compete, when you run. And so this 537 would have been overwhelmed, I believe, by the number of votes that would have been gained if we had simply had candidates knocking on doors and running in these districts. That's a painful thing to realize, isn't it? What would we do if we could go back in time? In this election, we would run in every seat, wouldn't we? What would we do right now to go back in time and change the direction of this country? We would do a lot, wouldn't we? Well, that's the challenge in front of us right now, because we have an opportunity to do just that in Florida right now. Now, I don't want you to leave the impression that this problem disappeared after 2000. In 2022, 34 state house districts in Florida uncontested. And this happened all over the country, by the way. But the good news is, in the last couple of years, leaders across this country and activists are seeing that we can no longer allow so many places to go without a choice, to go without competition. And in North Carolina, and in Arizona, and in Tennessee, and Texas, and Missouri, and Arkansas, all over, people are working hard, leaders of parties, activists, to recruit and reduce the number of uncontested races, and it's happening all over. And it's happening in Florida right now. So what's happened in Florida in the last several months? A heroic group of activists and party leaders have worked to recruit folks to reduce this number. Do you know what the number of uncontested races right now is in the state of Florida? It was 34 2 years ago. So high in 2000? 0. It's down to 0, folks. They have recruited candidates in every single state house district, every single state senate district, every single congressional district in the state of Florida has a candidate running. Wonderful news. That's exactly the lesson we should be learning from what happens when we don't run everywhere and we let extremists run without accountability and we have turnout below because we're not knocking on doors. There's only one challenge remaining before we can celebrate, and that is Florida has a very high filing fee to run. Some of the candidates that have been recruited need a boost so they can pay that filing fee in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to include a link in how you can directly help them pay that fee. We can all help make that happen. But bottom line, let's just celebrate the incredible recruiting, the incredible activism, and the candidates themselves stepping up, yes, in some very tough districts, to make sure that all across Florida we learn the lessons from the past, and instead of having extremists run without accountability, and instead of having lower turnout than we should have, we are running in every single district in Florida in the very year where abortion is on the ballot, where the presidency is on the ballot, where the U.S. Senate is on the ballot, and where an extreme state house is on the ballot. Thank you for everyone for stepping up.